So welcome to another Daily Bagel Weekly Roundup. The biggest stories happening in South Africa this past week and the questions sitting underneath them, from government rewriting immigration rules to a potential reset in US-SA relations, tighter controls on political ads, and a court challenge that could redefine your right to die. Now let's get into it. So who actually qualifies to be living in South Africa? That's the question that government is now trying to answer, and it's rewriting the rulebook to do it. You see, Cabinet has now just backed a new immigration white paper that pulls three separate laws: citizenship, immigration, and refugee protection into one system. So right now, those systems don't really line up, which means that someone can enter the country under one set of rules, apply for asylum under another, and then stay here under a third. And so this plan here tries to close those gaps. It standardizes how people enter the country, how they are assessed, and what rights they get, while at the same time speeding things up digitally and linking immigration more directly to the economy. So in practice, that could mean doubling down on existing rules, like prioritizing skilled migrants, while giving government more power to formally reserve certain jobs or sectors for South Africans. Now, supporters say that this restores fairness, while critics say that it risks overcorrecting. But the real pressure point here is refugees. You see, this proposal leans on what's called a first safe country rule, basically saying that if you are fleeing conflict, you should seek protection in the nearest safe country, not travel across multiple borders to apply here. Now, government says that stops people shopping for destinations and helps to manage pressure on our local jobs and services. Critics, though, says that it risks clashing with international law. Either way, though, this isn't law yet, but with Cabinet now behind it, South Africa is clearly moving towards a much stricter definition of who gets to be here and why. Now, you've probably seen the headlines. Ramaphosa is formally accepting US ambassadors' credentials. It's a move that's being treated as a big diplomatic moment and possibly a sign that both sides might finally be looking to ease the tension.
Can't we just settle this over a pint?
And so here's why that's actually important. So in simple terms, this is what officially lets an ambassador do their job in the country that they've been assigned to. And so until those credentials are accepted, they're basically stuck in a diplomatic waiting room in the country, meeting people, but not fully recognized. And so that's been the case here. The US ambassador has been in South Africa for weeks, but without the formal recognition, at a time when relations have been pretty volatile. So why does this matter? Because South Africa's relationship with the US has been pretty rocky for close to a year now, and we've already seen that pressure show up through tariffs, through tense trade relations, and reduced engagement at a time when it's one of South Africa's key trade partners. And so this moment now is being read as some small olive branch, a sign that things may be cooling off. And so look, it doesn't fix everything overnight, but it does reopen the channel where these issues actually get worked through. So South Africa may soon be forced to face one of its most difficult legal questions. Should people have the right to choose how they die? You see, a constitutional challenge launched this week is aiming to overturn the country's blanket ban on assisted dying, and it's now heading through to the High Court. So right now, any form of medically assisted dying is illegal in South Africa, with doctors who help patients end their lives potentially facing charges equivalent to murder. And so Dignity SA argues that this clashes with constitutional rights, especially for patients with terminal or irreversible conditions who are suffering without relief, and wants the court to force Parliament to create a regulated system instead. Now, the pressure point here is what happens in practice. You see, in countries like New Zealand and the Netherlands, assisted dying is legal under strict safeguards. Now, in South Africa, it remains completely banned. And so if the court agrees, it won't legalize assisted dying overnight, but it would force Parliament to decide how and whether it should exist at all. As for you though, where do you stand on the matter and why? So with local elections around the corner, campaign season is starting to kick into gear. And if there's one thing we know, is that some politicians will spend, say, and push just about anything to get your vote.
Please come with me to Rainbow Land.
And so now, as a result of that, the rulebook around how these messages reach you is being tightened. So ICASA has updated its regulations for political ads and election broadcasts ahead of the next municipal elections. Now, independent candidates are now fully included, and so alongside political parties, they are legally responsible for what they say, not the broadcasters airing it. And so that means if something crosses the line, it's the politician who carries the risk, not the platform. But the bigger play here seems to be fairness. You see, the rules limit how the same message can be used across paid ads and free broadcast slots, and ensure that broadcasters treat parties equally, even giving them the right to respond if criticized. And so in theory, this levels the playing field, but in reality, it also means that campaigns become a lot more controlled and contested, and a lot more strategic about where and how they end up. So expect the campaigns this election cycle to get a lot more creative. So 60/60 has just dropped this latest feature, and it's set to reshape how many South Africans shop, because this time it's not just making shopping faster, it's starting to do it for you. You see, the app has just launched Pixie. It's this AI-powered personalized shopping assistant that builds your basket before you even begin. And so instead of searching it, it shows you what you usually buy, what you're likely running out of, and what's on special. And then you simply accept or remove items and swap. Now, this only works if its system actually understands you. Features like this live or die on data, and the ShopRite group has years of purchase history, shopping habits, and behavioral patterns feeding into it, all brought together through an in-house build. And so it's not guessing what you might want, it's drawing from how you've constantly shopped over time. And so that's what makes this experience feel so accurate and why it's actually able to work. Now, the upside is obvious. It's faster, it's simpler, and it removes a layer of effort. But what's less clear is how many people will actually use it, whether they lean into it fully or still prefer to build their baskets themselves. Either way, it's a clear sign of how AI is integrating into the shopping experience. And on to our bagel bite of the day. Let's see what you got. The question is, which is the only continent without any active volcanoes? Is it A, Australia, B, Antarctica, or C, Europe? We'll give you the answer at the end of the show. You know, there's a lot going on in the world right now, but you know, every now and then a story just stops you in your tracks, and this one did for me. And so I came across this post written by a mother about her son. His name's Jordan. He's 11 years old. He's a fellow South African, and he's fighting leukemia. And I don't know these people at all, but I read through it, and I don't know, this just doesn't feel like another story. You see, this is a boy who should be playing rugby with his mates, stressing about school, or girls for that matter, and instead he's in a hospital bed going through treatment after treatment. And so his first round of chemo hasn't worked out the way that they'd hoped, and so it's at the point now where that next step is really crucial. And there's this immunotherapy treatment that gives him a better shot. It's more targeted, it's less brutal on his little body, and with that in mind, it comes at a cost, and so the family needs to raise over 200,000 Rand to make it happen. And I know there are so many stories like this, so many people in need, but every now and then I think you just have to pick one. You don't try and solve everything, you just go, okay, I feel like it's been placed on my heart to help you, and I'm going to help you where I can. And so if you'd like to donate or just learn a little bit more about Jordan's story, there's a Back a Buddy link pasted somewhere below. And if that's not possible for you right now, then please just share this. You never know where it might land. And Jordan, I know you're probably watching this at some point, and so just from myself and from all of us at the Daily Bagel team.
Hey Jordan, from all of us here at the Bagel team, good luck and stay strong.
You've got this, Jordy.
Go Jordan! Bro, just keep going, keep being brave, keep fighting this thing one day at a time. We're all behind you and we are praying for you. And mark my words, when you are through this, you and I are going to celebrate somehow. So best shot thinking up some cool ideas. And for everyone else watching, if you can, just drop Jordan a message below. Let him know that we're all in his corner. And as for that bagel bite, the answer is Australia, the only continent without any active volcanoes. You see, it sits in the middle of a tectonic plate, far from the fault lines where eruptions happen. And so, yes, even Antarctica has a few, which certainly caught me off guard. And my friends, that's it for today's weekly show. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be working on a couple cool things on the Daily Bagel front, with hopefully one of our new features launching in the next 2 weeks. So let's see how that goes. Otherwise, hope you guys have a cracker Monday, a fantastic week ahead. And we'll catch you next Sunday for the next round of the good stuff. God bless.